Will and Lily are best friends, but they live in different cities. Will misses her very much and goes to her city by train. On the train, Will puts his gold watch on the table and makes himself comfortable. The train goes into a dark tunnel for a few seconds. When it gets light again, Will can't find his watch. There are 3 people in his compartment. He questions them all. "Who stole my watch?" Meg says, "I was sleeping all the way." Xavier replies, "I went to order a cup of coffee." And Dan says, "I was waiting until it got light again to keep on reading." Who's the thief? Xavier. He hid the watch on his wrist under the sleeve. A watchmaker calls the police and says that he's just been robbed. Inspector Bold takes the case and rushes to the watchmaker's house.
I was finishing my work at about 8 p.m. Suddenly, the power was cut off. I went to the terrace to fix it. Suddenly, 4 men knocked me over and tied my hands. They stole all the money and left. At 10 p.m., I managed to get rid of the ropes. I fixed the lights and called the police.
Inspector Bold doesn't believe this story. Why? If the watchmaker had no electricity, his digital clock would have been 2 hours slow. He faked the robbery to get insurance money. Mr. Green throws a party in his mansion for all his friends and colleagues. He puts on his favorite shirt and diamond cufflinks. The party is a success. It gets dark and all the guests go out to the terrace to watch fireworks. Suddenly, Mr. Green notices that one of his cufflinks is gone. He looks around and quickly spots the thief. Who stole the cufflink? Take a look at this lady. She hid it in her hair. Busted! Molly goes for a walk with her friends. She has just gotten her first salary and she wants to buy some candies. Molly notices a small shop with chocolate and lollipops. They approach the shop. Molly takes her money out of her wallet, but a sudden gust of wind blows the bills away. Molly gathers her money, but one $10 bill is still missing. One of her friends must have taken it. Who took the bill? This guy. He's standing on it. Mike and Ike are brothers. Mike is a millionaire, and Ike is broke. Can you guess who is who? It's not his car, so he's probably Ike. Meanwhile, the cyclist has a luxurious car key. Therefore, he must be Mike. One of these ladies is broke. Can you guess who? It's the lady on the left. Her phone is fake. Karen works in a business center. One day, she was found unconscious in the bathroom. Doctors conclude that she was poisoned. The detective watches the CCTV. He sees 3 people who talked to Karen that day. The detective interviews these people. He asks one question. How well did you know her? Peter says, Laura worked in my department. She used to bring papers for me to sign from time to time. Kelly replies, We got along pretty well. Sometimes we had lunch together, and we plan to go to a concert next week. And Sandra says, I don't know her at all. We only talked once when she asked me what time it was. She lost her phone, and that's not surprising. Karen is so absent-minded. She's always losing things. Who poisoned Karen? Sandra. First, she said that she didn't know Karen at all. Then she called her by name and started talking about her traits. Lauren meets Jack on a dating app. They chat for a while, and today is their first date offline. Lauren arrives at the meeting point and sees Jack, but something's wrong with this guy. Can you guess what? Take a closer look at his profile picture. He has a mole on his cheek. Where did it go? Kevin is walking in the woods. Suddenly, a wicked witch pops out of nowhere and kidnaps him. Kevin wakes up in her cabin. The witch says,
"You're my servant now. Clean up the kitchen while I'm gone. And don't even think of running away. The first door is guarded by hungry dogs. There's a vampire behind the second door. And there's toxic gas behind the third door. You'll never get out of here."
but Kevin still finds a way to escape. Can you guess how? He used the garlic from the kitchen to chase away the vampire and escaped through the second door. There's a huge drama taking place in a prison for dangerous criminals. The prisoners have broken out of their cells and now they're trying to escape from the territory of the prison. The local manager realizes that the only way to solve this issue is to ask a superhero for help. But their fees are very high. That's why the manager can only afford to hire one superhero. Mr. Scanman can see and pass through any obstacle. Magnetus has the ability to control all the metals in the world. And Mr. Fireman controls sparks and evokes fire with the power of his mind. Who can help stop the prison uprising? Magnetus will be able to lock all the cells and put handcuffs on everyone. So he's the best choice for this task. Rick takes 2 pictures of his girlfriend. Can you find 5 differences between them? Ready to see the differences? Here they are. Nina goes to the supermarket. She picks up all the products and goes to the cashier to pay. Oh no! Her expensive leather wallet is gone! Nina interrogates 3 suspects standing nearby. Mike says, "I didn't see your wallet at all. I was too busy choosing chocolate bars." Stan says, "I'm a vegan lady. I don't use leather wallets. And I make all my payments with my phone." And Stella says, "I think it was Mike. He doesn't look like someone who can afford to buy so much gourmet food." Who's lying? Let's take a closer look at Stan's shirt pocket. There's a leather wallet inside it, but he said that he only pays via his phone. Therefore, his story is a lie. Emma is a conductor on a train. She makes her way through the cars and finally arrives at the first class. There are only 3 passengers. Emma asks to see their IDs. The passengers hand over their cards. As Emma scans the cards, she finds out that one of the IDs is fake. Can you guess which one? The first ID is fake. Take a look at this guy's birth date. February 31st doesn't exist. Richard returns home from work and discovers that someone has robbed his apartment. He calls the police and they question 3 neighbors living on his floor. Sheila says, "I was outdoors with my boyfriend all day. We arrived home 1 minute before you came over." Zach says, "I was sleeping with my earplugs after a long night shift and you woke me up. I didn't notice anything suspicious." And Alice says, "I spent the whole day working from home. I only went out once, about 2 hours ago to do my laundry in the basement." Who's lying? Let's take a look at Sheila's kitchen. She said they had returned just 1 minute ago, but there's a pot with boiling water on the stove. It takes more than a minute to boil so much water, so her story is fake. 3 friends are hanging out at a barbecue, but one of them has been replaced by a monster. Can you guess who? this lady. Her eyes are too yellow for a regular human. And now let's find out how sharp your vision is. Can you spot these 3 items in this mess? Ready to see the correct answer? Here they are. What about this location? Can you spot these 3 items? Over here.
Jill and Jim live in the US. One day, Jim goes on a business trip to Europe. Jill misses him very much, so she calls him up. She asks Jim to take a selfie and send it to her. He agrees. Jill gets furious as soon as she sees the picture. Jill, you're a liar. How did Jill figure it out? Europe and the US are in different time zones, but in Jim's photo, it's noon. That's American time. He never left the country. Can you find a zombie in this picture? Over here. What about this ski resort? Can you spot any zombies? Hello? And now let's see if you can find a zombie in this amusement park. It's hiding over here. The biggest bank in town was robbed last night. The local police investigate this case and find 2 suspects. They go to search their houses. The officer sees a clue and figures out who the criminal is. How did he guess? Let's take a look at the walls. There's the same picture in both houses, but this one is hanging upside down. There's probably a stash behind it. Busted. A teacher has 21 colored pencils. 7 red, 7 yellow, and 7 blue. She needs to divide them into 2 piles so that one pile would have 3 times fewer red pencils than the second one. And the second pile should have 2 times fewer yellow pencils compared to the first pile. How many blue pens would be in each pile? Zero. The teacher had 21 pencils, not pens. Can you rearrange these crayons and make 4 triangles? To solve this mystery, you gotta think outside the box. Here's the correct answer. Let's make the task a little harder. Can you remove just 2 crayons to make 2 squares? Ready to see the result? There you go. Donna goes to a supermarket and spots something weird. 2 of these women are pregnant, but one of them just stole a watermelon. Can you guess who? It's the third lady. She's wearing high heels, not what pregnant women would wear to a grocery store. Kitty wakes up in a creepy basement. She needs to open this door to escape. Can you guess the right order to press the buttons? Kitty needs to make the word unlock from the first letters of each emoji. Therefore, she should press the buttons in the following order: unicorn, nose, lobster, onion, cactus, kiss, and voila. Today is Cassie's birthday. She brings a cake to work to celebrate with her colleagues, Stan, Gemma, and Rosie. Cassie unpacks the cake in the office kitchen. Suddenly, Granny calls, and Cassie goes outside to talk to her. After a while, Cassie returns and finds her precious birthday cake on the floor. She questions everyone. Stan says, "I was sending an important email, so I didn't look at the kitchen. But I think it was Gemma. She's just pretending to be your friend. Gemma says, I went to the toilet to wash my hands. When I returned, the cake was already on the floor. And Rosie says, I don't know what happened. I went to the opposite side of the room to turn on the coffee machine. I made cappuccino for everyone. Who's lying? The coffee machine is off, and all the coffee mugs are empty. Therefore, Rosie lied. She was busy doing something else while Cassie was away. Detective Bold is having lunch at his favorite cafe. He looks through the window and sees his neighbor Zelda rushing home. They both live next to the cafe. Suddenly, Zelda runs back and approaches the detective. Zelda, please help me. My apartment was robbed while I was out. I didn't touch anything. I just ran here right away to find you. Detective Bold goes to see the crime scene. He looks around and says, Stop fooling around, Zelda. There was no robbery. How did he know? Take a look at this umbrella. Zelda carried it with her when she was rushing home, but she told the detective that she didn't touch anything at the crime scene. She just threw her stuff around the room to make it look like a robbery. Take a look at this fancy group of people. One of them is a real vampire. Can you guess who? It's the second guy. The first guy struggles with drinking this reddish beverage. The lady is just wearing a cosplay costume. And the guy on the right is taking a selfie, which means he shows up on camera. Therefore, he's a human being. Jeff calls the police early in the morning. Jeff, my neighbor cut down a tree on my car. A policeman arrives soon. Policeman, what happened? Jeff, my neighbor and I had a quarrel last night. When I was ready to go to bed, I saw him standing in front of my car. In the morning, I went out to drive to work and saw this. My car is pretty old, but he still has to pay compensation for the damage. The policeman questions Jeff's neighbor. He says, Jeff is a bit weird. He's always trying to start a quarrel for no reason. I didn't touch the car. I was sleeping all night long. The policeman examines the car and immediately realizes which of the neighbors was lying. Who cut the tree down? Can you guess? Jeff. He cut down the tree with this axe and then tried to put the blame on his neighbor to hit him up for money. Mike is an astronaut. His team consists of 2 other people. They're twins, Rob and Bob. They go to Mars for a month to study the local life forms. Time flies by quickly, and today they have to return to Earth. Mike goes to say hi to his little crew, but he finds 6 identical people in the spaceship. Mike realizes that the Martians can take any shape. Whom should he take back to Earth? This astronaut has 3 fingers. This guy's hair color is different. This imposter has forgotten to put on human ears. And this guy has different eye color. So the real Bob and Rob are over here. What's wrong here? The goalkeeper is holding a tennis racket. Also, why do they need 2 hockey pucks? Shelley downloads a dating app hoping to find new love. She likes several guys. They begin to chat and share some selfies. All 3 guys claim to be single and living alone, but only one of them is telling the truth. Can you guess who? The first guy sent Shelley a selfie from his bathroom. He's wearing a bathrobe, but there's another silk bathrobe hanging in the background. It's pink and small. Why would he need it if he's living alone? And the second guy is obviously fond of jewelry. He's wearing a ring on each finger, including the ring finger. So he's probably married. Only the third guy is telling the truth. And Shelley should give him a chance. A dangerous criminal escapes from prison. The police are chasing him, and the trail leads them into a small village. They question the locals and check the fields. Soon they see a farmer in a cornfield. The detective asks him if he had seen any suspicious strangers around. Farmer: "Sorry, I didn't focus on what's going on around me. I was too busy dealing with my corn. It's getting dark soon, and I need to harvest as soon as possible." The detective immediately figures out that this guy is the wanted runaway criminal. How? Corn is not harvested like this, so he can't be a real farmer. Can you see any odd details here? The phone is unplugged, and the laptop is missing a keyboard. Can you spot anything odd? Take a look at this guy. His fishing style is pretty weird. What about this scene? What are they doing wrong? This lady is skating on the pavement.
One of these people has recently escaped from prison. Can you guess who? This guy. He's using his prison suit instead of a beach blanket. What about this picture? Can you spot a runaway criminal? Take a look at the third fitting room. Busted! Nick parks his car next to his favorite supermarket. Can you see anything odd here? The car reflection in the window doesn't match reality. The car model is different. Monica works at the city library. She arrives at work after the lunch break and finds out that someone broke the locker in her office room and stole the most expensive antique novel book. She interrogates 4 suspects. Lauren says, "I spent the whole morning in the library getting ready for the upcoming test. I don't have time to talk to you." Nick says, "I only came here to purchase some coffee in your vending machine. The local vanilla latte is my favorite." Jeff says, "I've been looking through the books in the poetry section. I didn't touch any other books." And finally, Crystal says,
"I've recently met a special guy online. Today we're having our first date and agreed to meet here, but he's a bit late."
Who's lying? Nick, this vending machine doesn't have a vanilla latte or any other coffee. A couple of old friends are chilling on the beach, but there are 2 mistakes in this picture. Can you see them? The table lacks a leg, and these glasses are missing 1 lens. What about this picture? Can you spot 2 mistakes? The price tag doesn't have a price, and this fork is not okay. One of these ladies is a real mermaid. Can you guess who? The lady on the right. She has scales on her skin. Melanie is a famous supermodel. One day she was found unconscious in the dressing room right before her photo shoot. The police arrive at the studio, examine the room, and soon identify 3 suspects. Amy, a photographer, says,
"Why would I attack Melanie? We're having another photo shoot next week."
Kim, the costume designer, says,
"She's been like my best friend forever. She even gave me this job."
And Mike, Melanie's boyfriend, said, "We quarreled yesterday, but we'd already made up." The police examine the crime scene and guess who the criminal is right away. What about you? Kim dropped the needle on the floor near Melanie. She was probably jealous of her bestie's success. There are 10 people in a room. Each person can see the entire room and everyone else. Your task is to place an apple so all but one person can see it. Where would you place an apple in the room? Place an apple on anyone's head. 3 women have been kidnapped in town one by one. The police try their best to find and rescue them, but soon one more lady was kidnapped. The detective gets a call from a stranger. She says, "I've just seen my neighbor Victor with a lady looking like the missing lady on the news." The detective comes to Victor's house with a warrant. "What's the matter?" The detective looks around the apartment and arrests Victor right away. Why? Take a look at this shelf. The doll's hair matches the kidnapped women perfectly. Victor cut the lady's hair to make the dolls. Ugh, creepy. Xavier is driving to another state. He gets tired and decides to book a room in a motel to get some sleep. The manager says that he can choose one of 4 available rooms. Can you help Xavier find the best option? A creepy scorpion is crawling under the sofa in the first room. As for the second room, there's black mold on the ceiling. A rat is hiding in the fan in the third room. Therefore, Xavier should choose the 4th option. Mary, Tim, and Paul meet up after summer break. They're all very excited and ready to tell each other about their epic adventures. Mary says, "I climbed the biggest mountain in the country and I made it to the top." Tim says, "I went to my granny's farm. I learned to ride a horse and rode around all summer." And Paul says, "Well, I went to Africa. I'll never forget it. A huge volcano erupted. We flew out that same day." Tim and Mary didn't believe Paul's story. Why not? He couldn't fly away on the same day. Everyone knows that all flights get canceled when a volcano erupts. 2 guys got kidnapped. It was all over social media. This happened a few months ago. Detective Green investigates this case. After months of looking, he's finally onto something. He found the criminal's house. He goes to the basement and finds 3 guys all tied up. Green realizes the kidnapper is pretending to be one of the hostages. Who's the criminal? It's this guy. He has a clean-shaved face. If he'd been tied up for a few months, he should have had a full beard by now. Kelly and Sally are hiking in the woods. Suddenly, a zombie pops out of the bushes and starts chasing them. Sally takes her backpack off and begins to run. Why? It'll be easier for her to outrun Kelly. The zombie will catch Kelly. Meanwhile, Sally will have the time to escape. Best friend of the year, Sally. Wicked witches walk around the city and mess with ordinary people. Each witch has her own magic power, so it's impossible to defeat all the witches at the same time. A scientist finally prepares some potions for blindness, silence, weakness, invisibility, and a slowing down potion. But now he needs to understand which potion he should use against each witch. The first witch is able to fly on a broom at the speed of light. The second witch's gaze turns everyone into stone. The third one can make any person do what she says. The fourth makes everyone who looks at her fall asleep for 100 years. And the fifth witch can travel in time when she raises her wand up. Can you choose the right potion for each witch? The second witch will not be able to turn everyone to stone if she goes blind. Invisibility must be given to the fourth witch. The first one needs a slowing potion. The weakness potion is for the fifth witch. And the silence potion must be given to the third witch so that she cannot hypnotize people with her voice. Charlotte has just bought her dream mansion with a huge antique crystal chandelier in the hall. She throws a party for her friends. Everything goes well, but suddenly the lights turn off for 30 seconds. Everyone hears loud noises from the hall. When the power is back again, Charlotte goes to check and sees that the chandelier has crashed to the floor. Charlotte questions 3 suspects. Pam says, "I was eating snacks in the dining room. My friends can verify my words." Kenny says, "I was playing the guitar in the library when the lights turned off." And Stuart says,
I'd been in the toilet the whole time. I should have stayed away from the shrimps, you know.
"Who's lying?" Kenny. He said he'd been playing the guitar, but it has no strings. Polly wants to open a beauty salon. She asks her agent to find a nice place. The agent offers 4 properties, but only one of them is trustworthy. Can you help Polly make the right choice? According to the description, the first building will be finished in 3023, but Polly needs to open her business in this century. The third house looks pretty chic, but the walls are eaten by termites. And there's a huge and stinky garbage dump just next to the fourth property. So, Polly should pick the second option. I know something that will wake your brain up better and faster than coffee. Yep, it's time to find your magnifying glass.
Oh my god.
Look at this picture attentively. What's wrong here? Each of these 4 people has a slice of pizza in their hands, but only 3 pieces are missing from the pizza box. You have 3 jars that are all mislabeled. One jar contains apples, another contains oranges, and the third jar contains a mixture of both apples and oranges. You are allowed to pick as many fruits as you want from each jar to fix the labels on them. What is the minimum number of fruits that you have to pick and from which jars to correctly label them?
Yeah.
Let's look at this scenario. You pick a fruit from the jar labeled apples and oranges, and you get an apple. That means that the jar should be labeled apples. Now, the jar labeled oranges has to be labeled apples and oranges. As it can't contain oranges, and we've already got the apples jar, a similar scenario applies if it's an orange you take out of the jar labeled apples and oranges. So, you just need to take one fruit from the jar, apples and oranges, to label all the jars correctly. A farmer once challenged an engineer, a physicist, and a mathematician to fence off the largest amount of area using the least amount of fence. The engineer shaped his fence like a large circle and said it was the most efficient way. The physicist made a long line and said that fencing off half of Earth was the best. The mathematician laughed at them and showed his design, which beat the others. What did he do? The mathematician made a small circular fence around himself and declared himself to be on the outside. Every day after work, Jack arrived at the train station at 5 p.m. His wife left home in her car to meet him there at exactly 5 p.m., picked him up, and drove him home. One day, Jack got to the station an hour early and started walking home. He was walking until his wife picked him up along the way. They got home 30 minutes earlier than usual. How long was he walking? The best way to think about this problem is to consider it from the perspective of the wife. Her round trip was decreased by 30 minutes, which means each leg of her trip was decreased by 15 minutes. It means that Jack must have been walking for 45 minutes. Logan is a special agent who's trying to catch a notorious villain. After long months of investigation, he finds the criminal's headquarters. But the door is locked, which is not a surprise really. Logan sees a screen next to the entrance. He touches it, and the display lights up. It must be a riddle. And our special agent needs to solve it to get inside. Add one line to make it right. 9.50 equals IOIOIO. Logan cracks the puzzle in no time. What's the answer? $9.50 equals IOTOIO. The door opens and the man steps into a dark corridor. After walking for some time, Logan notices another door. A code lock again! The man also spots a calendar hanging on the wall. At the bottom, there are several letters, M, F, W. After connecting the dots, the special agent figures out the code. What is it? It's 153. The letters stand for the days of the week: Monday, Friday, and Wednesday. Monday is the first day, Friday is the fifth, and Wednesday is the third one. Oh yeah. Look at these two families. Which one is fake? What do you think? Well, the family on the right has weird dietary habits. They allow their son to eat the whole cake on his own. But maybe they just don't care about healthy eating. The family on the left, though, seems to be perfectly fine. But have you spotted a USB port covered by the necklace the mother of the family is wearing? She's a robot, and all this family thing is just a joke. Now, look at these prisoners. Who is more likely to escape? Gotcha! Neither of them. The one on the right will be stopped by the prison guard, while the one on the left will end up face to face with these pretty unfriendly dogs. How about these girls? Which one lacks common sense? That was another tricky question. Both of them aren't the brightest bulbs in the chandelier. The one on the left is going to post a photo of her credit card on her social media. And the one on the right is going to share the details of her ID and plane ticket with her followers. That's incredibly unsafe.
Oh my God!
It was the first day of school when the principal's wallet went missing. There were 3 suspects: the gardener, the math teacher, and the coach.
Oh no!
Here's what they said. The gardener was mowing the front lawn. The math teacher was checking the surprise test he'd given his students. And the coach was meeting new people who wanted to join the school's soccer team. Who took the wallet? It was the math teacher. No one gives surprise tests on the first day of school. Look at these women. Can you figure out which one isn't pregnant? It's the woman on the right. Her belly is strangely shaped, and something seems to be moving under her clothes. Ugh, creepy. One day, the emperor asked his general what he should choose if he was offered either justice or a lot of gold. "I'd choose the gold," the general answered without hesitation. The emperor was taken aback.
Oh.
"I would have been disappointed even if this was the choice of a servant," the emperor said. "But coming from you, it's not only disappointing but also shocking and sad." But the general justified his answer to the enraged and hurt emperor without a problem. What did he say? He said that people asked for what they didn't have. "Under your majesty's rule," He then added, "Justice is available to everybody, but I am a spendthrift and always short of money. That's why I said I would choose the gold." The answer pleased the emperor, and his respect for the general was restored. The police arrived at a ski resort early in the morning. At night, someone attacked the manager of the hotel, and he was taken to a hospital, still unconscious. The police suspected 3 people, Laura, James, and Arthur, who had arrived the day before. The officers inspected their rooms, and here's what they found. Look at these things attentively and try to understand who attacked the manager. It was Arthur. Look, he doesn't have any warm clothing, which means he didn't come for skiing. Allison is a big boss in an international company. One day, she's hurrying to an important meeting when she notices the documents she needs haven't been printed out, but she's asked at least 3 of her subordinates to do it. Ian says he's just returned from the supermarket because they've run out of coffee beans. Robert claims he's been terribly busy drafting a new contract. And Alice answers she's been in the kitchen preparing snacks and making coffee for the meeting. Who's actually forgotten about the task and is making up excuses at the last moment? It's Alice. There's no coffee in the office. Then how could she make it? Rich businessman Mr. Hudson had a serious disease and was staying at the best hospital in the city. He was treated with pills invented by a scientist working in that hospital. Mr. Hudson was feeling better and better and was getting ready to be discharged. But then, one morning, he was found in critical condition. The police had 4 suspects: the cleaner, the businessman's nurse, his assistant, and the scientist. The cleaner said that Mr. Hudson liked when his room was tidy, so she came every day to clean it. The nurse said that she gave Mr. Hudson's injections every morning, and they had even become friends. The scientist was very upset.
His disease was complicated, but we've made such progress. And today, this happened.
And the assistant answered that her boss asked her to bring his favorite sweets every day. And she did just that. Can you figure out who caused the worsening of Mr. Hudson's condition? It was the nurse. Mr. Hudson was treated with special pills. What injections is she talking about?
What?
Harrison was walking home when someone threw something at him and knocked the guy out. When he came round, he found himself in a room with 4 doors and a tiny window. Harrison opened the window, but it was too small for him to squeeze through. Suddenly, the guy spotted a piece of paper lying on the floor. It was a note that said, "Only 1 door leads outside. The other 3 doors don't lead anywhere. You can try to open just 1 door and only once. If you don't succeed, all of them will be locked forever." Harrison thought for a while and made the right choice. How did he figure out which door was the one he needed? He opened the window. This created a draft. The guy checked the keyholes and felt some cool air coming from one of them. It was the door to freedom. Detective Sheldon Copper was resting at a beach resort when an unpleasant accident happened there. Someone pushed elderly Mrs. Stevenson into the swimming pool when there was no one around. But this someone didn't know the lady was once the best swimmer at her university, and she never stopped practicing. So it wasn't difficult for her to cross the swimming pool and get out of it at the other side. Sheldon asked the lady if she had seen the attacker. She didn't, but she was sure it was someone who knew she'd just received a huge inheritance. The detective needed to talk to 3 people. They were Mrs. Stevenson's son, Terry, her granddaughter, Gloria, and her niece, Judy. Terry said, "These days, I've been very busy. Something urgent came up at work. I don't even have time to leave my room to go for breakfast or dinner." Gloria asked Sheldon to keep her secret. She was seeing a waiter she had met at a beach cafe. If her relatives found out, they would be furious. And Judy told Sheldon she'd taken a car to go shopping in the city center. Who's lying? Terry. The man looks sunburned. But how can it be if he hasn't left his room for days? Jaden bought a beautiful ring for his girlfriend. He wanted to propose to her at the weekend. He left the ring on his desk at home and went to work. But when he got back in the evening, he didn't find the ring. Oh, no. Only his 3 sisters were at home that day, and none of them liked his girlfriend. He went to question each of them. Mia was in her room. She said she'd spent the whole day there painting the walls. Emily was in the kitchen. She answered that she'd been cooking a birthday cake for her friend. And the youngest, Nora, was in the garden. She said she'd been planting roses. It didn't take Jaden long to figure out who had taken the ring. Do you know who it was? It was Nora. She looks too tidy for a person who was supposedly spending the entire day in the garden.
What?
Plus, she doesn't have any gardening tools. The best player of Julian's volleyball team disappeared right before the game. Julian's main suspects were 3 players from the rival team. Jackson said, "I've just returned from the gym. I was warming up before the competition." Leo had to pick up his wife and daughter from the hospital, and Ryan claimed he'd fractured his leg. And the team doctor was giving him a massage.
Yeah.
Who's behind the player's disappearance? It's Ryan. Getting a massage when your leg is broken? Really? Can you figure out the answer to this rebus riddle? The answer is summary. Hello there, Brightsiders. These riddles are gonna be a bit different than usual. No witches, detectives, or whatever. Let's go! Take a look at this pic. On the left, you've got a set of words. They're not linked to each other in any way. On the right, you've got a set of weirdly shaped geometrical objects. Your task is to match each word to the corresponding objects. Alrighty, let's see the answers. Voila! Let me break it down for you. It's necessary to look for external similarities between words and pictures. This is called word recognition. We recognize words as a whole, not by individual letters. Easier to spot spelling errors. That's why we can read abbreviations. We recognize familiar words even if letters are missing. Next one. You gotta use your math skills here. So, in front of you lies a whole treasure. 10 bags, each of which contains 1,000 coins. 9 sacks contain real gold coins, and 1 contains extremely fake ones. A real gold coin weighs 5 grams, while a fake one weighs 4 grams. How to determine in one weighing on the scales which of the bags contains fake coins? The scales are accurate, but there is only one approach to them. Here's the right approach. We take 1 coin from the first bag, 2 from the second, 3 from the third, and so on, up to 10 coins. Weigh these 55 coins. Gold coins could weigh 275 grams. If 1 gram is missing, then fake coins are in the first bag. If 2 grams are missing, then fake coins are in the second bag, and so on. It's curious that this task is easily scalable. The number of bags is not important. At least 3, at least 1,000, everything is solved by 1 weighing. This riddle got pretty viral on TikTok, but in case you missed it, you can try to solve it right now. He claims that according to the FBI, if you solve this riddle, you're smart enough to become a special agent. So, a man and a woman go out to dinner on their first date. The evening is very hot, and they bring water with ice. The woman is terribly thirsty, and she drinks 3 glasses in 1 gulp. A man drinks 1 glass in small sips throughout the evening. Later, he writes to her that he suddenly became ill. Weakness, dizziness, breathing problems. At midnight, he passes away. The police call the woman in for questioning and announce that there was poison in her glass and in the man's glass. It was poison, so why did the man get poisoned and the woman not? I'm sure you already guessed the poison was in the ice. The woman drank so fast that the ice cubes had no time to melt, so the poison had no effect on her. The man drank slowly and the ice melted, so he swallowed poisonous water. I guess pretty much any Brightsider can become a special agent. Now, look at this picture. Keep in mind that it's not that simple and only 1% of people can figure out what's wrong with this image. Hey, look closer. The woman in the red dress on the right doesn't have an umbrella, but she doesn't get wet. 2 coins are worth 30 cents. One of them is not 5 cents. What are these coins? This one was easy, 25 cents and 5 cents. One coin is not 5 cents, but the second is 5 cents. Look at this picture closely, because the riddle is all about your attention. Now tell me, what time is in the picture? To make it a little bit easier, I'm going to give you a couple of options. A, it's 5 a.m. B, it's 11 a.m. C, it's 7 a.m. Take a look at the long shadows and the snow lying on the cars and the burning lanterns. Well, I guess it's 7 o'clock in the morning in the picture. Look at the picture. Do you spot anything weird here? The shipping deck seems to be way too slim. Seems like it was built after the ship had arrived at the port. Allison is quite a picky eater. She likes grapes, but she can't stand peaches. She's into squash, but she never eats carrots. So now you have to figure out what Allison prefers, pumpkins or apples. This girl may be finicky, but she does have some logic. She only eats things that grow on vines, so she's gonna prefer pumpkins over apples. There's a clerk at the butcher shop. He's 6 feet tall and he wears size 13 sneakers. What does he weigh? Of course, it's meat. There's a word in the English language in which the first 2 letters signify a male, the first 3 letters signify a female, the first 4 letters signify a great man, and the whole word means a great woman. Can you guess this word? It's the word heroine. A hen and a half lays an egg and a half in a day and a half. How many eggs does one hen lay in one day? Yeah, it's pretty hard to think of a hen and a half. As for an egg and a half, I can only imagine it in a cooked form. 1.5 days is the easiest criterion here. So, with all the given information, it must be that one hen would lay 1 egg in the same time period. 1.5 days. But if one hen lays 1 egg in 1.5 days, it means that one hen would lay only 2/3 of an egg in one day. So the answer is 2/3 of an egg. A young man wants to have it, but when he grows up, he no longer wants it. He attacks it with a blade in his hands, but it's always in vain. What is it? It's a beard. Hey, I've got a riddle rhyme for you. I'm rather large and usually majestic. I'm every hue of the rainbow. I can eat you. I may heat you. You only wish you could see me. What am I? It's a dragon. The last but not the least. Get ready. This one's gonna be pretty long. Carl's 2 grandmothers want to see him every weekend, but they live on the opposite sides of town. Not to offend any of the grannies, he tells them that every Sunday he'll head to the subway station nearest to his apartment at a random time of the day and will hop on the next train that arrives. If it happens to be the train traveling north, he'll visit his grandma Erica uptown. And if it happens to be the train traveling south, he'll visit his grandma Liz downtown. Both of his grandmothers are okay with this plan, since they both know the northbound and southbound trains run every 20 minutes. But after a few months of doing this, Grandma Liz complains that she sees him only 1 out of 5 Sundays. Carl claims he chooses a random time each day. How can this be? Keep in mind that the trains always arrive at their scheduled times. Although both trains come exactly every 20 minutes, the timing matters a lot. Let's imagine the northbound train comes on the hour, on the 20, and on the 40. So at 8, 8:20, 8:40, 9, etc. Now let's suppose the southbound train comes on the 4, 24, and 44. So 8:04, 8:24, 8:44, 9:04, etc. This means in any hour, there will be only 12 minutes in which the southbound train will be the next train to arrive. So, if Carl arrives between 8 and 8:04, between 8:20 and 8:24, or between 8:40 and 8:44, he'll get on the southbound train. Otherwise, he'll get on the northbound train. But as Carl always comes at a random time, and the southbound train supposedly arrives after the northbound trains, Carl gets to see his grandma Liz pretty rarely.
Are you ready to challenge your visual memory? These puzzles will definitely make your brain sweat. Take a look at this picture and try to memorize each object. Okay, the time is up. Can you sort the extra object out? These scissors don't belong here. Let's make the task a little harder. Take your time to memorize these staplers. And now let's see if you can spot which object didn't appear in the initial picture. Option C is new. The next one, try to memorize these donuts. Great. I'm sure you remember them all by heart, and you'll have no problem sorting the odd one out. Option A doesn't belong here. Here comes the next set. Try to memorize all the details. Okay, which ice cream didn't appear in the initial picture? B. You'll need to stretch your photographic memory to the limits if you want to solve the next task. Here are 6 different burgers. Pay attention to all the details. You're going to need them later. And now let's take a look at these 9 pictures. Can you spot which of these burgers didn't appear in the initial picture? Ready to see the answer? B, D, and E. The next one. Try to memorize all 6 rings. Good. Can you sort the 3 extra rings out? Options A, C, and F don't belong here. Take a look at this picture and try to memorize each parrot. The time is up. Can you spot the parrots that were not present in the original picture? B, E, and F. And now let's go ahead and study the following images. Great job. I'm sure you remember every flower. Let's see if you can find them among these 20 flowers. 1, 7, 9, 15, 16, and 19. The next task is the same. Do your best to memorize all 6 mugs. Okay, can you spot them among this variety? Ready to see the correct answer? Here they are. How about a task change? Study these 6 objects very carefully. Ready? And now let's hide them and try to remember where this object was. Over here. Was it too easy? Let's complicate the puzzle a little. You have a few seconds to memorize these 10 objects. Great. Can you recall where this image was? It was here. And what if we increase the number of objects to 12? Ready to try? Can you spot this object's location? There it is. Here's the next group of objects. Try to memorize them all. And now let's hide them and swap their places. Can you restore the original sequence in which the objects were placed? Ready to see the answer? There you go. Ready to try again? Here's a group of objects. You know what to do. Let's see if you can restore the original sequence this time. Here's the correct order. Can you handle 8 objects? Let's check. Here's the initial sequence. Take your time to memorize it. All right, let's rearrange the images. Can you bring them back to order? This is what the original sequence looked like. Anna arrives at an empty parking lot. Can you guess the number of the place where her car is parked? To make the task easier, we should turn the picture upside down. And now it's obvious that the correct answer is 87. Miranda is a very rich woman. She lives in a fancy circular mansion with diamond chandeliers in every room. She also has a diamond table, a movie theater room, a spa room, and a huge garage with 5 antique cars. But today Miranda is very upset. She has just found out that one of her cars is missing. She asks the butler, but he says he was making her bed. Miranda questions the maid and she says, "I was dusting corners." And the chef says, "I didn't touch your car. I was making breakfast." Who's lying? The maid. Miranda lives in a circular house, remember? So the maid couldn't be dusting corners. I can be cracked. I can be made. I can be told. I can be played. What am I? I'm a joke. Toby and Bobby decide to prank their English teacher. They succeed, but the teacher wants revenge. He detains them and takes the students to the basement. "Teacher, you'll stay here until you solve my riddle. Make one word from the following letters." Toby and Bobby spend 7 hours there, and finally, they solve the riddle. And the teacher lets them go. How did they do that? The answer is literally one word. Rose is riding a bike. Suddenly, someone throws a cup of strawberry milkshake in her face. She loses her balance and falls. Rose looks around, finds 3 suspects, and interrogates them. But each person swears to have nothing to do with the prank. Bianca says, "I was just doing my daily workout. I'm on a sugar-free diet, so I would never have bought this disgusting milkshake." Nick says, "I was reading a book and enjoying my own milkshake, but I like chocolate, not strawberry." And Lauren says, "I was just walking my dog and I didn't look at the road." Who's lying? Lauren, take a look at her bright purple lipstick. There's a similar mark on the cup that was thrown at Rose. Zelda finds a recipe in her granny's old cookbook, but unfortunately the last ingredient is encoded. Here's a hint to crack it. Although I may have eyes, I cannot see. I have a round face with lots of acne. What am I? Any idea what it might be? It's a potato. 4 criminals are planning to rob a bank. They agree to only take the gold bars. They return home and decide to divide the bar among themselves. Can you find a way to separate this shape into 4 equal parts? Here's the easiest way. Liam gets a spooky invitation to a Halloween party. He comes along and sees something creepy right away. All the guests are vampires except one. Can you spot a human? Take a closer look at the lady in a witchy costume. She's the only one who has round pupils like a normal human being. Someone stole the most expensive painting from the local art gallery. The police arrive at the crime scene and pull some fingerprints. They identify 3 different people. 2 of them are trusted employees of the gallery, but the 3rd fingerprint belongs to an unknown person who might be the robber. The detective suspects 4 criminals specializing in art thefts. He finds their fingerprints in his database and compares them with the ones from the crime scene. The detective identifies the robber right away. What about you? Can you guess who stole the painting? These fingerprints belong to the gallery employees. So here's the robber. Cherry and Sam spend their honeymoon at a fancy resort. Can you spot any mistakes in this place? The pool is frozen. Bob is having dinner and watching TV after work as usual. But can you spot anything odd in this picture? The mirror reflects a different TV program. There are 3 different yachts to choose from. Which one should Jake pick? The 2nd yacht has no lifeboats or jackets. It's dangerous to sail like that. As for the 3rd boat, there's a tied-up man on board. And this sailor is a ghost, so only the 1st yacht seems safe and reliable. Kendra, Stacy, and Monica are besties, but in fact one of them is a bad friend. Can you guess who? Monica. She left an ice cream stain on her friend's coat on purpose. Ryan wants to surprise his wife. He calls the local flower shop and orders a huge bouquet of daisies. An hour later, someone knocks on Ryan's door. He looks through the peephole first and says, "Oh wow, a fake delivery guy has arrived." How did he know? The delivery guy didn't know that Ryan had ordered daisies, and he brought roses instead. The next puzzle will test your visual memory. We're going to show you a couple of images. Try to memorize them as best you can. All right, time is up. And now let's see if you can find the mug that you saw at the beginning. B. What about the ice cream? A. And finally, can you spot the original cat? Option D is correct. Here's the next set of images. You know what to do. Are you ready to spot the butterfly? Option C is correct. What about the gnome? D. Can you find the initial candle? B. And what about the comb? It's over here. And now try to memorize these images. Let's check if you can find the glove that you saw at the beginning. Option D is correct. What about the phone? It's over here. Can you find the original pencil? A. And what about the broccoli? It's over here. Can you spot the shoe? B. Nina's brother decides to prank her and changes a 6-letter password on her laptop. He leaves a little clue in Nina's room so that she could crack the code. Can you help her? To solve this riddle, we should take a look at the calendar on the wall. The marked dates imply a number sequence, 6, 12, 15, 24, 5, and 18. But the password should contain 6 letters, not numbers. We need to find the corresponding letter in the alphabet. 6 for F, 12 for L, 15 for O, and so on. And the final password is flower. Alex is going to the Moroccan desert. Alex decides to go explore the local market. He wanders around and a stranger approaches him. Stranger: "Hey, mister, would you like to buy these ancient statues? I found them in a tomb. They're thousands of years old." Alex gets very interested. He loves history. He takes a closer look at the statues and gets mad. Alex: "Your statues are fake." How did he know? The first statue is holding a phone. The second has the hieroglyph of a bicycle. The third statue also can't be that old. Back then, no one knew what the Earth looked like. And the fourth statue is wearing sneakers. Busted. Robert is a professional thief. He knows that Mrs. Gold is hiding a diamond necklace in her safe. But now he fails to crack the required 8-number code. What about you? Let's take a closer look at the paintings. See these dominoes? It's a clue. They form the code 3, 2, 1, 5, 6, 1, 2, 4. Stephen is building a new house for his family. He's visiting the construction site to check how the builders are doing. Stephen finds out that someone has broken an expensive antique mirror. Only 3 people had access to the house. Stephen questions all of them. The supervisor says, "I was feeling sick yesterday, so I went home earlier to get some rest." The interior designer says, "Yesterday the mirror was fine. I arrived here in the evening to take some pictures for my design project. See for yourself if you don't believe me." And the mover says, "I wasn't here yesterday. I spent the entire day at the construction supermarket. So I don't know who did it." Who's lying? The designer. There's a selfie among the pictures that she took yesterday. Take a look at her glasses. They reflect the opposite wall in the broken mirror. Busted.
Luna wakes up early in the morning. Her boyfriend, Kyle, takes 2 pictures. Can you spot 5 differences between them? Over here. Luna goes to the local fair and finds one attractive deal. Wow! Tarot readings for free! There are 4 fortune tellers behind these 4 veils. Only one of them isn't fake, and this person is behind veil A. Can you help Luna find her? Let's take a closer look at the veils. The symbols in the circles are simply doubled letters, so A is over here. Luna goes inside and meets the fortune teller, Rosemary. There are 5 odd things in her office. Can you spot all of them? The teapot has eyes. This candle is levitating. The window is locked, but the curtain is moving. Her black cat has 5 legs, and there's a tennis ball in a bunch of onions. Rosemary tells Luna, "I like you, young lady. That's why I'm going to give you a chance to win a jewelry box. All you need to do is to crack a 6-number code to open it. My cards will give you a clue." Luna agrees, and Rosemary puts these 6 cards in front of her. Can you help Luna open the box? To solve this mystery, we need to count the number of given organs in the human body: 1 nose, 2 hands, and so on. So the correct code is 121212. Luna opens the box and gets the jewelry. Rosemary offers her another deal. "Okay, I'm going to double your prize if you guess a 4-letter password. Here's a clue. Can you help Luna crack the code?" Only one element is present in all 3 cards. It's a star, so this is the password. Luna brings the treasures home, puts them on the table, and goes to the shower. After a while she returns and finds out that Kyle stole the jewelry and ran away. He left a note, a clue about where he went. There are only 5 words in this note. Can you guess where Kyle went? Milan. Luna lands in Milan. It's raining, so she buys an umbrella from the nearest store. Luna is walking down the street and suddenly gets hit by a car. She doesn't catch the plate number, only the make and color. A police officer sees Luna and comes over to help her. Based on the description, he finds 3 suspects. They get asked a similar question. "What were you doing at the time of the crime?" Bella says, "I was in a park painting a picture." Karen says, "I was at work in the office." And Ethan says, "I was visiting a friend." The police officer knows at once who is lying. What about you? It's Bella. You can't paint in the rain. The police officer takes Luna to the local hospital. There she meets 4 patients: Gabriel, Isabella, Luke, and Bianca. Only one of them isn't a vampire. Can you guess who? Isabella is standing by a mirror, and she has a reflection. Therefore, she can't be a vampire. Luna goes to Dr. Weird's office. He's very fond of experimenting. He agrees to cure her bruised leg. But there's a catch. Luna has to take a swim and survive in one of his 4 containers. The first container is full of venomous snakes. The second one is full of formic acid. It can burn any mammal. The third container is full of water and lactobacilli. And the fourth one has live electrical wires. Which container should Luna choose? The third one. Lactobacilli are not dangerous to human beings. Luna gets better and goes to a restaurant. Unfortunately, the local well-known chef, Mr. Fabulous, declines to cook. Someone pranked him and he wants to figure out who. The pranker poured red paint into Mr. Fabulous's fancy bag. He suspects 3 employees at the restaurant. Can you find the evidence and catch the pranker? These gloves are stained with red paint, and this guy is the only one who's not wearing gloves, so he's probably the guilty one. Luna decides to change her appearance before stalking Kyle. She enters the local beauty salon. One of these people is a criminal. Can you spot who? It's the client on the right. He's trying to steal the hairdresser's phone. The beauty salon staff found their boss, Mr. Sharp, unconscious in the basement. Someone pushed him from the stairs. Luna suspects that the criminal is among the hairdressers. Can you spot this person? Mr. Sharp grabbed the attacker's apron and ripped off one pocket. This guy lacks his right pocket. Therefore, he did it. Luna finds Kyle's current location. Only one of these 3 roads will lead her there. Can you find the correct path? It's the 3rd one. Luna arrives at the final destination. It's a fancy hotel. There are 3 managers in the lobby, but one of them is a ghost. Can you guess who? The first manager is drinking coffee, and the 3rd one is sweating, so they're alive. Therefore, the 2nd one is a ghost. In the lobby, Luna meets 3 models heading to a party: Bella, Mia, and Carlotta. One of them is broke. Can you guess who? Carlotta is the only one who doesn't wear a formal dress, but maybe it's just her style. Mia's phone is crushed, but it doesn't prove that she has no money. She could have dropped it just now. Meanwhile, Bella is grabbing a bunch of free candies from the hotel jar, probably to save some food for later. Luna goes to a restaurant to look for Kyle, but suddenly, the owner yells, "Help! Someone cut the most expensive painting in my restaurant!" He questions 4 suspects. Luna says, "I was chatting to my friend on the phone. I don't know what happened." Chef says, "I just arrived with ingredients to make a chocolate cake." And the restaurant guard, Sergey, says, "I've just returned from my 10-minute break. I drank coffee outdoors." And Lucy, the singer, says, "I took a selfie with your painting 10 minutes ago. See, it was fine." Who is lying? Sergey. He said he had drunk his coffee, but his mug is full and steaming, which means he was doing something else during his break. Oh, Sergey. Quickly, Luna spots Kyle among the guests. He sees her too and runs away. Kyle hits the road and Luna follows him in a taxi. But unfortunately, they get stuck in a traffic jam. Can you see anything odd here? This car is moving in the opposite direction. Luna lost track of Kyle. She hires a private investigator. Together, they find out that he's about to give the stolen jewelry away to resellers in a warehouse tonight. He hid the box with treasures among the ordinary boxes in advance and sent the resellers this clue to identify the right box. Luna only has 5 minutes to find the correct box and escape. Can you help her? Her jewelry is in the 5th box. Luna returns home and decides to find herself a new boyfriend. She registers on a dating site. There, she meets Max, and they like each other. After a whole week of chatting, Luna decides to ask him out on a date. They agree to meet in a park, but she still doesn't know what he looks like. Max never sent her his pictures. She only knows that he has dark hair, never wears bright colors, and loves to take pictures. Luna arrives at the meeting point and sees 3 guys. Can you help her find Max? The first guy has a blonde beard. The 3rd one has a professional photo camera, but his jacket is bright orange, so he can't be Max. Meanwhile, the 2nd guy matches the description perfectly.
Hi, my favorite detective. I've got a new portion of tricky riddles for you to train your sharp mind. Let's start.
Yeah.
One summer night, Emily threw a big party. But in the morning, she discovered that someone had stolen all her jewelry and money.
Oh no!
The police have 3 suspects: Daniel, Emily's boyfriend, Lily, her best friend, and Hannah, the girl's sister. Daniel told the police that he'd been playing computer games with his friend all night long. Lily felt sick and went home in the middle of the night. She said she knew nothing about the theft when the police called her. And Hannah said that she had stayed at the party till 7 a.m. and then had taken a taxi home because nobody could give her a lift. It was dark and she couldn't see anything. Who was lying? Hannah. At 7 a.m. in the summer, it's already light outside. One day, a famous soccer coach went missing right from the changing rooms. The police had 3 suspects, and all of them were from his team. Brandon said that after the training, he'd stayed on the pitch to practice a bit more. He hadn't been to the changing room yet. Andrew swore that after the training, he had gone outside to meet with his girlfriend. And James said, "When I was leaving the changing room, the coach was still there." Who's behind the disappearance of the coach? It's Brandon. He said he hadn't been to the changing room yet. But look, he's wearing not his uniform, but his street clothes. Once, a mad professor kidnapped Zoe and held her in his house. Was he planning to experiment on her? There was no way the young woman could escape. But one day, the scientist got bored.
You'll have to make breakfast for me tomorrow. If I like it, I'll let you go. If not, no one will hear about you again.
In the morning, Zoe went to the kitchen and started cooking. But when she turned away from the stove, the scientist threw a whole box of salt into the pot. However, when Zoe served him breakfast, he realized he had to set the girl free. Can you figure out what Zoe cooked? The girl boiled eggs. A man on a motorbike crashed into the window of Mr. Ruby's store, grabbed several expensive watches, and drove away. When the police arrived, Mr. Ruby told them that he was almost sure it had been his nephew, Patrick. The officers went to visit the guy. Because of a heavy downpour, it took them 1 hour to get there. Patrick was at home, together with his friend. "Look at the weather. I haven't been outside since yesterday." Patrick's friend confirmed his words, but the police didn't believe their story and arrested Patrick. Why? The guy's helmet is hanging on his motorbike. If it had been there since the previous day, it would have been filled with rainwater by now. 4 friends went to a cafe together. 2 of them, Linda and Mike, ordered a large pot of blueberry tea. Kirsten took some lemonade, and Oscar opted for orange juice. Half an hour later, Linda and Mike lost consciousness and were rushed to a hospital. When the police analyzed the tea they had drunk, they found poison in it. The main suspects were, of course, Kirsten and Oscar. Why didn't they drink the tea? Kirsten said that she didn't like tea with berries, and Oscar explained that he was allergic to blackberries. Who is the culprit? It's Oscar. He said he was allergic to blackberries, but the tea his friends drank was with blueberries. David worked at a construction site. Once, someone attacked him, and the unconscious man was taken to a hospital. Police officers who arrived to investigate the case had 3 suspects who also worked at the construction site: Alex, Ryan, and John. Alex said, "I was putting all towels on the roof when the accident happened." Ryan confessed that he'd been sleeping under the tree, and John claimed that he'd been laying bricks at that time. Can you figure out who's lying? Alex was the one to hurt David. The building has no roof yet, so he couldn't be putting tiles up there. You've bought a cute little rabbit at a pet store. The animal can breed every 2 months, and every time it will deliver 5 babies. How many rabbits will you have in a year? you'll have just one rabbit. If you want to have little bunnies, you have to buy 2 rabbits. Look at these people attentively. Who is a mer person? Pay attention to every little detail. It's the guy on the right. Look, his hands are webbed. Allison won the main prize of $1 million on a game show. But when the shooting was over, it turned out that the host of the show had disappeared, together with the prize. The police managed to log into the computer in his office. They saw that the host had sent this message to his girlfriend. It looked like the host had told his girlfriend where he was going. The police went to the airport, but which flight was the host going to catch? Can you figure it out? Now let's see, the first 2 letters of Atlas are AT. If we take 3 letters from the word land, it'll leave us with LAN. And the 2 first letters of tattoo are TA. Together, these letters make up the word Atlanta. Hurry to the gate, officers! Jack got lost in the woods. Suddenly, he saw a castle. The man rushed there and was greeted by the owner of the castle.
You have to answer just one question. If you win, I'll show you the way out of the forest. But if you lose, you'll never leave my castle.
Jack agreed. The owner asked,
There are 4 mirrors on the wall. One of them reflects fire-spitting dragon Niren. The second, beautiful mermaid Laura. In the third mirror, you can see a terrifying vampire Sam. And in the fourth, unicorn David. You have to figure out which reflection isn't real, and fast!
The reflection of Vampire Sam isn't real. Vampires can't be reflected in mirrors. A businessman arrived at his office after a long trip and discovered that some important documents had disappeared from his desk. He immediately called the police, and a detective arrived shortly after. After interviewing all the workers, he had a list with 3 suspects on it. They were Emma, the accountant, Sophia, the receptionist, and James, a sales manager. But each of these people claimed that they hadn't even been inside the businessman's office. Still, it didn't take long until the detective figured out who was lying. Can you do the same? The thief is James. Both women wear high heels in the office, but the footprints on the floor are obviously left by sneakers. You throw me when you need me and pick me up when you don't need me. Can you figure out what I am? Right you are. I'm an anchor. How can you increase 66 by 1.5 if you aren't allowed to make any mathematical operations? Hurry up and crack this riddle. Just turn 66 upside down. It was Mr. and Mrs. Smith's wedding anniversary, and Mrs. Smith was going to put on diamond earrings her husband had presented her for their wedding. But when she opened her jewelry box, she saw that the earrings weren't there. She called her daughters, Dora and Laura. "I've told you so many times not to touch my things. Who took my jewelry this time?" Dora exclaimed, "I haven't touched your jewelry box." Laura also denied taking her mom's stuff. "I don't even wear earrings." Can you figure out which girl is lying? It was Laura who stole the earrings. Her mom didn't specify which piece of jewelry was missing.
Okay, listen up. Lenora and Luna are twin sisters and vampires. They love Twitter and pranks. Luna lies on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and Lenora lies on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. On the remaining days, they only tell the truth. Today, to celebrate their 1147th birthday, Luna posts on Twitter, "I lied yesterday." And Lenora comments on her post, "Me too." What day was it? It was Thursday. Luna could say that she lied the day before on Monday or on Thursday, and Lenora on Thursday and Sunday. So for both, it could only be Thursday. Luna and Lenora love messing with humans. They go to a party to find someone delicious. All these guys are vampires, except one. Can you spot the human? Take a closer look at the guy in the middle. He's the only one who has the eyes of a normal human being. Get out. The guy's name is Billy. The sisters lure him into their house. They're in a good mood and decide to give him a choice. Billy can choose which of them would bite him first. Billy answers, and the sisters let him go. What did he say? He said, "Let the more beautiful sister bite me first." Smarty pants. Luna and Lenora have recently visited 2 vampire weddings. Here are 2 pictures. Can you guess which couple is more silly? The first wedding ceremony takes place in a castle, but it's daytime and the sun rays sneak into the room. Meanwhile, the second couple is having a wedding on the beach. They're under a tent, and the sun will soon set. So, the first couple is more silly. Luna and Lenora finally buy a piece of land and start building their dream castle. Luna has the necessary education and controls everything. One evening, she comes over to see how the construction is going. Oh no! Someone has broken an expensive stained glass window. Luna calls 3 workers and questions them. Bob says, "I received the window delivery in the morning and put it in the barn. Then I worked on the floors. I didn't approach it again." Gerald says, "I was hanging TVs that I bought from the store." And Xavier says, "I measured the house in order to make a staircase to the second floor." Who is lying? Gerald. According to his reply, he hung up the TVs, but the castle isn't even completed. Looks like he broke the window and decided to confuse Luna. Well, lucky Gerald. He gets fired instead of bit, and the remaining workers continue construction. Finally, they finish 2 rooms in the castle. Can you spot 5 differences between them? Here they are. There's a trap hidden in this room. Can you find it? It's hidden under this basket. Luna and Lenora are visiting an art workshop. Can you spot who's not from this planet, model or artist? It's the artist. Take a look at his work. He doesn't know how many hands human beings should have. Then they visit a pottery workshop and take these 2 pictures. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. Lenora dates a human, Dr. David. She goes to the hospital to visit him. Can you spot which one of these 3 doctors is David? The first guy is wearing a badge. His name is Tom. And the second guy is hiding a police badge, so he probably works undercover. Therefore, David is the third guy. David goes to the basement to get some spooky drinks for Lenora, but someone pushes him from behind and he faints. David wakes up in a weird room with 3 pills in his hand. He has to pass through 3 doors guarded by monsters. Which pill should he use to pass through each door? David should use the invisibility pill for the first door. If he flies, the vampire will turn into a bat and catch him. And the regeneration pill will heal the bite, but David will still become a vampire. As for the second door, he should use the ability to fly. If he becomes invisible, the werewolf will still smell him. Regeneration isn't helpful either, because he may still turn into a werewolf. He should use it for the third door, to make the body invulnerable before meeting a maniac. Meanwhile, Luna is visiting a vampire party. She spots an imposter among the guests right away. Can you find this person too? Only the fourth lady has a shadow, so she's not a vampire. At the party, Luna meets her old friend Glenda. Can you spot her husband? It's the third guy. They're wearing similar pearl earrings. The next evening, Luna is visiting their unfinished castle. She finds out that someone has stolen their expensive antique painting. Only 3 workers had access to this room. Luna questions all of them. Kyle says, "I was feeling sick yesterday, so I went home earlier. The painting was in its place." Bob said, "I was the last to leave yesterday and I locked all the doors in the building. I think this painting is cursed because Kyle got sick after staring at it." And Xavier says, "I just arrived from the architect with new building blueprints. I don't know who did it." Who stole the painting? Xavier. He cut the painting out of the frame, rolled it, and hid it among the blueprints. Lenora and David are shopping together. They choose some clothes and go to try them on. Can you spot what's wrong here? The mirror doesn't reflect properly. What about this picture? Anything odd? David is a human, but Lenora is a vampire. She shouldn't have any reflection. There's a loud quarrel taking place in a jewelry shop. The salesman calls the police and yells, "This customer stole my best emerald tiara." But the customer says, "No, I bought this cheap toy in a $1 shop 2 years ago." Who's lying? The customer. She's hiding another tiara in her hair. Lenora enters a cosmetics store. 3 stylists greet her and offer her free makeup. One of them is a criminal. Can you guess who? The First Lady. She has a pick lock in her makeup brush set. Meanwhile, Luna finds out that the land around their castle is haunted. Can you count the exact number of ghosts in this area? The correct number is 7. Luna goes to sleep and wakes up in a weird place. A creepy note says that Luna can pass through one of these 3 doors. There's a family of hungry lions waiting behind the first door. There's a desert full of snakes and scorpions behind the second door. And there's a creepy ancient vampire hiding behind the third door. Which door is more or less safe? Luna should use the third door. She's a vampire too, remember? Lenora and Luna finally move into their new castle. They hire a housemaid to clean the house, and she gets to work right away. Can you spot anything weird? Why would a cat need an electric charger? Luna wants to find a boyfriend, so she starts looking through dating apps. She finds Rick. Can you spot anything odd about him? His kettlebell has 0 weight. Okay, forget him. Luna gives up dating apps and goes on a speed date event for vampires only. There, she meets 3 nice guys. Each tells her a couple of facts about themselves. Olaf says, "I've just turned 5,000 years old and realized that I'm ready for a serious commitment." Vlad says, "I'm from a very ancient and rich vampire family. We have property all over the globe." And Lester says, "For many centuries I lived in Europe and promoted musicians and writers. Now I want to find a girlfriend and start a new chapter of my eternal life." Only one of them is trustworthy. Can you guess who? Olaf reflects in the mirror, therefore he's not a real vampire and his story is a lie. And Vlad is stealing the gold cutlery from the table. He's not a golden boy, but a gold digger. So Luna should choose Lester. And this is how love bites.
Today, I only have 2 riddles for you, but it means that you're not going to crack them easily. Prepared? Here's the first one. Far, far away from any civilization, there is a remote island with 20 inhabitants. They were born there, and all their lives they've been into math, which helped them become pretty perfect logicians. Unfortunately, they're imprisoned, being trained to win the Nobel Prize, and they can't leave the island. Well, actually, there's a way. Each islander can approach a guard at night and ask to leave the island. If the islander who asked to leave has green eyes, they will be allowed to leave. If not, they'll be tossed into the island's volcano instead. So, obviously, no one takes the risk, because none of them knows their eye color. The thing is that all of them actually have green eyes, so each one could theoretically leave, but, well, none did. They don't have any reflective surfaces, they're mute, and they're not allowed to communicate with each other in any way. The only time they all see each other is during the lineup every morning. One day, I got the privilege to travel to the island and present myself during the lineup. I could make an announcement, but there was one strict rule. I couldn't tell them any new information unless I wanted to be thrown into a volcano. But I really wanted to help those guys out, so here's what I said. At least one of you has green eyes. How many days will it take all of them to leave the island after my announcement? Okay, maybe 20 is a bit hard to figure out right away. So let's first consider the case of 2 islanders, Edda and Fi. Both of them have green eyes, but they don't know their eye color. So the day when I announce the statement, they pay attention to it and look at each other, remembering the eye color. Edda sees that Fi has green eyes, which aligns with my statement, but she can't be sure that she has green eyes too. Fi does the same. She sees Edda's green eye color, but he isn't sure about his own eye color. So the night comes and none of them leaves. When they both see each other the next day, they realize something. Edda realizes that if Fi had seen that she didn't have green eyes, he would have understood that the one person with green eyes was him and would have left the island that night. But he didn't do it. So Edda realizes that Fi saw her green eyes and wasn't sure about his eye color. So her eyes must be green. Fi has the very same logic and figures out that he has green eyes too. So now they both know it, and the second night, they both leave. In the case of the 2 islanders, they both left the second night. Now, let's say there are 3 people on the island, Edda, Fi, and Theta. Each of them sees two green-eyed people, but they still can't be sure about their own eye color. So, no one leaves the first night. In the morning, they see each other again, but unfortunately, none of them are sure again. Theta thinks that possibly her eyes aren't green, and Etta and Phi were watching each other. She figures that now they will both see that none of them left and will leave the next night. Each one of the three thinks so, and once again, no one leaves. The second night passes, and the three islanders meet the third morning. So, Theta is now sure that Etta and Phi weren't just watching each other, but her too. So she must have green eyes. Etta and Phi, who were following the same logic all the way, realize the same thing. So all of them figure that they have green eyes and leave on the third night. Now, if I add another islander, the same logic will work, and it'll take one more night to figure it out. In our case, there are 20 islanders. They will all see 19 green-eyed islanders and will all wonder if others see 18 or 19 green-eyed islanders. So they will watch each other for 19 nights, and when they see each other on the 20th morning, they will all leave on the 20th night after that. Okay, great job. Here's the second riddle. This one is much easier in my opinion, so I'll give you a little break. But you still need to keep your brains turned on. You take a voyage across a sea, delivering fish tanks with rare species of fish to scientists who will work on increasing the population of that said fish species. But on your way, you get into a storm, and the fish tanks get drowned in the sea. The records get lost too, so you're not even sure how many fish tanks there were to start with. Still, you must find them all. Good news, there's a rescue submarine you can use, but there's only enough fuel for one trip to the bottom of the ocean. So, before going down, you make some inspections. Thermal imaging detects 50 organisms in the areas where you have lost the fish tanks. Those are your fish and sharks, which are not yours. Using a scanner, you scan 3 regions of the sea more closely: Region A, Region B, and Region C. The scanner shows that in Sector A, there are 4 fish tanks and 2 sharks. In Region B, there are 2 fish tanks and 4 sharks. Just as you're about to scan Region C, the scanner breaks down and doesn't show you anything. So, you need to figure out how many fish tanks there are to send to the submarine. This is not an easy task, especially with lost records. You don't know exactly how many fish tanks were on board, but you remember that there were no more than 13 of them. You also don't know how many fish there are in each fish tank, but you know that it's the same amount in each one of them. There's also information that in every sector there's a different amount of sharks, and not more than 7 in each one of them. Knowing all this, can you figure out how many fish tanks drowned in Sector C? The best way to solve this kind of problem is by using a table. So, we know that there are 13 fish tanks at most. 6 of them were located in Sectors A and B, so there are between 6 to 13 fish tanks in total. Can't be more, can't be less, since we already have 6. Now, let's move on to the sharks. In each sector, there are no more than 7 sharks. Also, there's never the same amount of sharks in 2 regions. Since regions A and B have 2 and 4 sharks, the possible number of sharks in region C is 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7. Let's put these numbers in the rows. In a column next to it, we put 6 in each row. That's the number of sharks in regions A and B. Now we know that there were 50 creatures located in the waters. So for each possible amount of sharks, we can calculate the remaining amount of fish. 43 in case of 6 sharks plus 1 in region C. 41 in case of 6 sharks plus 3 in region C. 39 in case there are 5 sharks in region C. 38 if there are 6 sharks there, and 37 fish in total if there are 7 sharks in the last region. Okay, now we have to remember that the number of fish is the same in every tank. So, the total amount of fish must be divisible by one of the possible values for the total amount of fish tanks. 43, 41 and 37 are prime numbers that aren't divisible at all. In case of 38, we'd need 19 tanks, 2 fish in each, but we know that the maximum number of fish tanks is 13. So the only possible scenario is 39 fish in 13 tanks, meaning 3 fish in each tank. So, in Region C, 7 more fish tanks got lost on the bottom of the sea. I hope you can find them all now.
Tyson was thinking about buying a gym membership. There were only 3 gyms in the area where he lived. The first one was called Iron Muscles Gym, the second one was called Stronger You Gym, and the third one was called Fit for Life Gym. Now take a look inside all of them. Which one should he choose? Do you see the clean towels wardrobe inside the Stronger You Gym? They don't look clean at all. It's not the best option unless he loves germs. And take a closer look at the running mill inside the Fit for Life Gym. It's broken. That's an accident waiting to happen. So he should pick the Iron Muscles Gym. Ellie and Ollie were looking for a nice hotel to spend their vacation together with their puppy. After checking out some places online, they brought down their options to 3. Take a look at the website of each of them. Which one should they pick? Do you notice the small stock photo sign on the photos of the first hotel's website? That can only mean they are scamming people. The second hotel seems like a good option since it's a 5-star one. But do you see the small sign on the website that says, "No pets allowed"? They can't go there with their puppy, so they should stay at the third hotel. James and Jonathan went camping in the woods. As they were searching for the perfect place to set their tents, they came across a river that only had one bridge to cross to the other side. However, as soon as they stepped on it, a troll appeared in front of them and said, "I'll only let you pass if you answer my riddle. Until I am measured, I am not known. Yet how you miss me when I have flown. What am I?" The answer is time. Hillary was sitting in her hotel room when someone knocked on her door. She opened it and saw a man whom she had never seen before. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I have made a mistake. I thought this was my room." He then walked back to the elevator. Hillary immediately locked the door after him and called hotel security. What do you think made her so suspicious? Nobody knocks on their own hotel door, but the man did that. Captain Bluebeard was traveling the sea with his crew. At one time during their voyage, 2 of his sailors were standing on opposite sides of the ship. One of them was looking west, and the other one was looking east. But at the same time, they could see each other clearly as well. How was that possible? The sailors had their backs against either ends of the ship. Newton and Curie were 2 history professors from Planet Q. To complete their planet Earth research, they had to explore a place the Earthlings used to call a school. There, they found a piece of paper with a handwritten number on it, but couldn't come to an agreement about what the number was. Newton was saying it was 6, and Curie was saying it was 9. Who is correct? Do you see this teeny tiny dot here? That can only mean the number is 9. So, Curie is right. Yeah. The Foggy Mountains region of the Kingdom of Endolia was occupied by the most vicious dragon. The king called Knight Samuel to go on a quest to defeat it and take all the gold it stole from the people back. Yeah. So, Knight Samuel hopped on his horse and reached the mountains after a long journey. Once the dragon saw him, it said if Knight Samuel knew all 3 of its riddles correctly, it would leave the mountains as well as all the gold. The first one was, "Soft and fragile is my skin, I get my growth in mud. I'm dangerous as much as pretty, for if not careful, I draw blood. What am I?" It's a thorn. "You're a clever one, Knight Samuel," the dragon said. "Here's my second riddle. I am a box that holds keys without locks, yet they can unlock your soul. What am I? The answer is a piano. I have only one riddle left for you, but be very careful. If you can't answer it correctly, this kingdom shall be mine. When you went into the woods, you got me. You hated me, yet you wanted to find me. You went home with me because you couldn't find me. What was it? The answer is a splinter. Annie forgot her computer in her dorm room, but she urgently needed to use one to submit her school paper. Her mom had a laptop in the study room, but it was password protected. However, she was easily able to figure out the password. How did she do it? Take a closer look at the bookcase inside the room. Some of the books have letters instead of their titles on the side labels. This book has the letter A, this one has N, another N here, there's an I on this book's label, and this one has an E. So the password is Annie. Professor Guillermo was the headmaster of the Academy for Superheroes. He was also responsible for holding examinations to select new students for the Academy. There were only 3 students left who successfully made it to the last part of this year's exam. To pass it, they all needed to show Professor Guillermo their special power. The first student's power was going invisible. The second student could make objects fly. And the third student could bend metal with her mind. However, Professor Guillermo realized that one of them was an imposter. Which one is it? Take a closer look at the object that the second student is levitating. Do you see the small on-off button here? That can only mean it's actually some tech device that can fly on its own. So he is the imposter. Jane was competing at Who Wants to Be a Billionaire? And she was only one question away from the $1 billion prize. The question was, it's true, I bring serenity and hang around the stars, but yet I live in misery, you'll find me behind bars. With thieves and villains I consort, in prison I'll be found, but I would never go to court unless there's more than one. What am I? It's the letter S. Dylan was going to buy a new car. The salesman showed him 3 options. Which one should he choose? Take a look at the side door of the first car. The paint on here is chipped. It's not wise to get a car that's already damaged. The third car's left tire rim is cracked. This one is also a pass. So he should get the second car.
Oh, yeah.
Catherine has 4 daughters, and each of her daughters has a brother. How many children in total does Catherine have? Each daughter has the one and the same brother, so she has 5 kids. Rachel and Ashley were best friends, but one of them was living in Japan, and the other in the United States. Rachel had purchased a BFF bracelet for Ashley and wanted to mail it to her. However, the only way to make sure the bracelet would be received was to place a lock on the package. Rachel had locks and Ashley had locks, but neither had keys for each other's locks. How can they ensure the bracelet isn't stolen? Rachel should place a lock on the package and send it to Ashley. Ashley then should place one of her locks on the package and send it back to Rachel. Rachel removes her lock and sends the package back to Ashley. Marla goes to the grocery store and buys 1 dozen eggs. As she's going home, all but 3 eggs break. How many eggs are left unbroken? The answer is hidden in the question. She has 3 eggs left.
Stuart works as a teacher in an old British magic school, which is located in a beautiful castle. Early in the morning, he's walking down the corridor. Suddenly, Stuart hears a loud noise from the class and goes there to check. He sees 3 students raising their wands. One of them is a fake wizard. Can you guess who? this guy. He has an ordinary twig instead of a magic wand. Stuart settles down the quarrel and goes to the dining hall. He chooses one of these 4 breakfast sets. But Stuart doesn't eat any meat or fish. Also, he's allergic to all the purple fruits and berries. Can you help him choose the safest option? First of all, let's exclude the first breakfast. This cotton cheese bagel looks good, but it contains salmon. The second set has toast with blueberry jam, which may cause an allergic reaction. As for the fourth option, fried bacon is hiding under this cute waffle. So, Stuart should choose the third option. Although it contains some purple cabbage, nobody said that he's allergic to purple vegetables too. The cook offers Stuart a deal.
If you guess my riddle, you'll get a double dessert.
Stuart agrees. Here's the riddle.
What melts in a freezer?
The frost when the freezer is switched off. After breakfast, Stuart goes to the school greenhouse to say hi to Miss Palmer. She looks very confused.
In the morning, 3 evil wizards opened a magical portal and snuck into the greenhouse. They took the shape of my plants, and now I don't know where they are.
Can you help Stuart find them? Take a look at this cactus. It has no root. It just floats in the air without a pot. All the lilies have 6 petals, but this one only has 5. And this pumpkin has a watermelon pattern and color. Therefore, these 3 odd plants should be the wizards. Stuart walks down the Great Hall. Suddenly, an owl lands on his head and ruins his hairstyling. Stuart gets furious and asks 3 students standing nearby, "Whose owl is this?" Can you spot the owner of this bird? It's this guy. He has the same colored accessory as his owl. It's time for the flying lesson. 3 students, Wendy, Drake, and Blair, are about to have a race on their broomsticks. Can you spot who's cheating? Blair is casting a spell on her broomstick to make it go faster. Blair gets disqualified. Meanwhile, Drake and Wendy and Rob get ready to start the race. Can you guess who's gonna win? Drake has a broken broom, and Rob's position is wrong. It will take him more time to catch the broom and hit the road, so Wendy has the best chance of winning. Stuart begins Transfiguration lesson. He gives each of his students an apple and asks them to turn the fruits into stones. And then Stuart goes to the toilet. After a while, he returns and finds a huge toad sitting on his desk. Stuart questions 3 suspects. Among the students, Drake says, "I didn't do it. I was too busy with your task. Luckily, I made it." Bella says,
It was Magnus. I saw him catching a toad in the pond last night.
and Magnus says,
It was Drake. He wanted to distract you because he didn't do his homework.
who's lying? Drake, take a look at his desk. There's an apple in front of him, but he said that he succeeded in turning it into a stone. Stuart is riding a broom in the garden during his lunch break. Suddenly, someone throws a purple paint tube on his head. Stuart loses balance and falls. He finds 3 suspects and interrogates them. Billy says,
I was just sitting under this ancient oak and doing my homework.
Bella says,
I was painting Billy's portrait. At some point, I noticed that my purple paint was missing. We both were here all the time.
and Lily says,
I was just flying on my broom. I didn't even see any paint, sir.
Who pranked Stuart? There's purple paint on Bella's hands, but it's okay because she was painting. Billy's outfit looks fine, but Lily has these odd smudges of purple paint on her hair. That's because she hid the tube under her witchy hat after the prank. Stuart is visiting the human world once a week because he loves one local bakery. But today, he finds out that he's not the only magical guy here. Can you guess why? Take a look at this pretty lady. She looks young, but her reflection in the mirror shows she's an old witchy lady. Every winter, a fancy ball takes place at the magic school. Several students perform a traditional dance as part of the opening ceremony. Suddenly, one of the dancers, Lily, loses her balance and falls in front of everyone. Stuart decides to investigate this case and finds out that someone had spilled olive oil on the dance floor on purpose. He interrogates 3 suspects. Harry says,
Sir, I didn't do it. Lily is my girlfriend. Why would I prank her so meanly?
Richard says, Lily totally deserved that. She refused to go to the ball with me. I don't know who did it, but I'm grateful to this person. And Bella says,
Before the performance, I was taking selfies with my boyfriend. Look at the pictures, if you don't believe me.
Now Stuart knows exactly who's guilty. What about you? It was Bella. Take a look at her selfies. She's wearing a witch bottle necklace and it's filled with greenish oil, but now it's empty. The magic school hired a photographer to take fancy pictures at the ball. This photo was taken at midnight, and this one half an hour later. Can you guess what happened here? This wizard didn't push her. He was actually trying to save her by raising his hands and casting a spell. And he succeeded, as we can see from the second picture. The winter ball is over. Stuart throws an after party for teachers at his apartment. Everything goes well, but the next day, Stuart finds out that someone had stolen the rarest and most expensive spell book from his secret library. Stuart has never told anyone about this room, but the lock isn't broken, which means that the thief knew a special spell to open the door. Only 4 guests possess this level of magic: Ambrose, Morgana, Rosamond, and Richard. Stuart rushes to the teacher's room. He questions all the suspects. Each teacher claims to have nothing to do with the robbery. Can you guess who's the thief? Ambrose. His coat is missing 1 gold button because he dropped it at the crime scene. Meanwhile, Ambrose looks through the spellbook and finds a potion recipe that allows teleporting anywhere. But unfortunately, the last 3 ingredients are encoded. Here's a hint to crack the first one. It's a flower that can be found between the nose and the chin. Any idea what it might be? Tulips. Here's the next hint. What kind of vegetable do people look forward to getting every month? Celery. And this clue will lead you to the final ingredient. What kind of room can you eat? Mushroom. Ambrose finishes the potion and teleports to an unknown place. In the evening, Stuart arranges an urgent Zoom call with his fellow wizards. They're all currently in the same city, but they don't have time to meet offline. Unfortunately, their video call gets interrupted by a stranger. Can you spot the imposter? All the wizards live in the same city, which means they're in the same time zone. The call takes place in the evening. It should be dark outside, but this guy is in the middle of a sunny day. Therefore, he's the imposter. Stuart goes to the magic market to buy special ingredients for a potion that will help him find the stolen book. 1 violet costs 10 bronze coins, and the price for 1 lily is 15 coins. Can you calculate the price of this 1 starflower? One starflower will cost 20 bronze coins. Each flower costs 2.5 coins per petal. And this particular starflower has 8 petals. Billy is a young and ambitious blogger. She's shooting a makeup tutorial for her TikTok. Can you spot anything odd here? The mirror in the background should reflect her back, not her front part. Billy gets an invitation to visit a meetup for famous influencers. This party is epic. Good music, delicious food, and beautiful people. Moreover, every VIP guest gets a bag full of expensive gifts. Suddenly, Billy sees Sebastian. He's a famous video blogger with 20 million followers. And her secret crush. Can you guess which one of these guys is Sebastian? The first guy looks pretty chic, but he has a fake bag, so it's unlikely that he's an influencer. Let's take a look at the remaining 2 guys. Sebastian has millions of followers. Therefore, he's 100% a VIP guest. Only the third guy carries the gift bag, so he's Sebastian. Billy and Sebastian fall in love, but they want to keep it a secret. That's why they spend a romantic weekend in a forest cabin away from the paparazzi. But unfortunately, someone leaked their picture, and now all the tabloids discuss their secret date. Only 3 people knew about this trip. Billy questions them. Harry, the driver, says, "I brought you to the cabin on Saturday and picked you up on Sunday, just like you asked. I didn't tell anyone because I signed a non-disclosure agreement." Billy's assistant, Amy, says, "I booked the cabin under my own name so that no one would figure out that you're hosting celebrities." And Sebastian's sister, Bianca, says, "I didn't tell anyone about your date. I was feeling sick. I had to stay home alone because my daughters were at school." Who's lying? Bianca, schools are closed on weekends. A new spa salon invites Billy over for a promotion campaign. She goes to the pedicure room and sees these 3 clients. One of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? It's the second lady. Take a look at her feet. After the sauna, Billy goes to the shower and washes her hair. Unfortunately, someone pranked her by replacing the shampoo with paint. Can you guess who did it? The lady on the right is guilty. There's paint on her hand. Billy decides to eat in her favorite restaurant. She enters and sees these 3 guys. Can you guess who's having a date? It looks like the first guy is having a romantic dinner with his book. And the third gentleman has 1 set of dishes. Meanwhile, the second guy has 2 plates on his table and he's hiding a small gift in his pocket. So he's the only one who's waiting for his date. Sebastian invites Billy to a family dinner to introduce her to his mother, Prudence. They arrive and find her in the middle of a quarrel with the police. Prudence claims that her housemaid stole her antique pearl necklace, but the housemaid denies everything. Who's lying? Prudence. The pearls are in her hair. The next day, Billy goes hiking with her friends. They take some pictures for her blog. Can you spot 3 differences between these photos? Over here. What about these 2 pictures? Can you find 5 differences? Here they are. Billy meets her old friends. They haven't seen each other for 5 years. Billy has to make a quick phone call, and she walks outside. In a couple of minutes, she comes back and sees her friend Luna lying unconscious on the bathroom floor. There's a weird mark on her cheek. The waitress says that it looks like a vampire's bite. One of Billy's friends must have turned into a vampire. She decides to invite her friends for lunch to find out who exactly.
Guys, let's have a picnic on the beach tomorrow and discuss who bit Luna.
How can Billy identify the vampire? Billy should invite her friends to the beach. The one who would refuse to go there must be a vampire. Billy throws a birthday party at her house. She only eats plants. That's why she hires the most trendy cook to prepare a classy vegetarian dinner. The party goes great. Everyone has fun. The next day, Billy finds out that someone had replaced salt and sugar in her kitchen jars. Billy questions 4 suspects. The cook says, "Miss, I wouldn't have become a celebrity chef if I wasted my time on silly pranks." Dan says, "I gorged myself on chicken nuggets at the very beginning of the party, and then I stayed away from the kitchen and the food." Emma says,
I think I saw someone rummaging through the kitchen when I was swimming in the pool.
and Sebastian says, "That wasn't me, but you should check everyone's phones. The prankster probably filmed everything." Who's lying? Damn, it was a veggie party. He couldn't have eaten the chicken nuggets. Billy wants to find her new business partners, so she's visiting a conference and meets 3 people. Each person offers Billy a collaboration. Megan says,
I developed my own fashion line, and I've recently launched my first offline boutique. Would you like to be the face of my brand?
Jeanette says,
I run the largest marketing company in the country. If you sign an exclusive contract with me, I'll find the best deals for you.
And Francois says,
Lady, you should sell beauty products under your own name. I can help you launch a business.
only one of these offers isn't fake. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at Francois. He has stolen someone else's badge, so he's an imposter. And Jeanette is wearing a waitress uniform under her fancy jacket. It's unlikely that she's a company owner, so Billy should trust Megan. The next week, Megan invites Billy to a photo shoot. Billy arrives at the studio, but the door is locked. She needs to enter a 5-number code. Her phone battery has discharged, and unfortunately, she doesn't remember the code by heart. Do you have any clue what it might be? We should take a look at this poster and count the number of petals in each daisy. So the code is 58677. Billy enters the studio and sees Megan, the photographer and stylist, and a bunch of pretty clothes and shoes. Can you count the exact number of shoes in this picture? The correct answer is 13. 4 people are wearing 8 shoes, plus 5 more are scattered around the studio. The photo shoot is about to begin. But suddenly, the lights turn off for 30 seconds. When the power is back again, Billy finds out that her smartwatch is missing. She questions 3 suspects. The stylist says,
I was cleaning my makeup sponge when the lights turned off. I didn't move from my place.
The photographer says, I have my own smartwatch. Why would I need yours? And Megan says,
Come on, you're a famous influencer. Why would I ruin my own reputation?
who's lying? The photographer. Billy's watch is wrapped around his camera lens. After work, Billy meets Sebastian in their favorite restaurant. They ask the waiter to take their picture. He takes 2. Can you spot 10 differences between them? Here they are. After dinner, they go for a walk. Can you spot 3 odd things here? Fish swim on the surface of this window. Also, this lady is wearing a snake instead of a scarf. And this taxi is driven by a raccoon.